Good afternoon. Welcome. I am Raymond Camden. This is Code Break. Welcome back. It is May 5th, a day after Star Wars Day. I hope you celebrated accordingly and did all the proper festivities for a good Star Wars Day. I am back streaming again after a break last month. I will say this month we're doing it on Mondays. I want to get back to Tuesdays soon, but Mondays is just what worked out for this month. So the next session will also be on a Monday. And obviously, today is a Monday. I could tell because my brain is still not quite braining. I just got back from Into the Box, great conference run by the Ortis folks. They created box slang. If you read my blog, you know I've been working on that. Um, if you are there, like always, I say please send me a shout out in the comments so I know I'm not speaking into the great big giant void of nothingness out there. I would appreciate it. I'll also say I am streaming on some new hardware, new internet as well. A lot of new things going on here. That's always makes my anxiety just just great. But I think it's going to be just fine. We'll find out. But again, leave me a comment out there. So far, it's pretty quiet, but I know that there's got to be at least one person out there watching who is willing to type in a comment and tell me what they're thinking so far. Or maybe I am alone. You never know. So yeah, there was no code break in April. Basically, it boils down to, I was looking for a job and it was incredibly stressful after a couple months. I know a lot of y'all are going through that as well. And I just cut this, I said I got too much going on, too much stress, too much worry, etc., etc. Let me just kind of focus in on things. Good news is that I got a job. Yay me. Um, and I start May 20th. And when it gets a little bit closer, I'll tell you where. But I'm still in the DevRel space, thank goodness, because that's, I think, where I shine. And yeah. And you know what? I'm not talking about it publicly. Feel free to send me a DM. I'll tell you where. It's not like a huge big secret. But that being said, I have a job. Yes. And that's also going to probably impact my schedule in June. Figure that out when it comes. We'll get this back on track and consistent. And this is episode 25 uh, of Code Break. Oh, great. I got one comment at least. Cool. I was just, in fact, let me actually share. Share. Thank you, Todd. To be clear, Todd, I was just about to go into a private chat and like nag you and say, "Are you there?" So I'm happy at least one of you are there. So, episode 25. This one I have been looking forward to for a couple of weeks now. It's going to be about building desktop apps. So, when I got into development, which was a very, very long time ago, I quickly gravitated to building for the web because it came out when I was in college and it clicked and I liked it. And obviously, I was successful. But for a long time, I can remember thinking that, you know, desktop apps, like that's the real deal. That's what real developers do. They build things for the desktop. Web apps are, yeah, it's, not quite the same. And I can remember I had a copy of Visual Studio Basic and I built like a little application there. Obviously, it was really easy to use. And yeah, I built a simple desktop app and then probably didn't think about it again for like 10 plus years. Um, and then, the web platform got a heck of a lot better. Mobile kind of joined in and I kind of focused on mobile development. Well, on the website, we had PWAs, you know, all that being said, I haven't really thought about building desktop apps, but I still run. desktop app. So right now, uh, my screen moment, and it used to hear every single meeting. It's pretty much really appreciate it. Thank you. Um, so yeah, I kind of didn't think about building desktop apps until fairly recently, and I was thinking, you know what? Let's actually play with this again. Like I was saying, I think I have a couple of desktop apps I still use. Spotify, for example, and Spotify runs on the web, but I like having the desktop app. I like having the separation of context. Google Chat, which is a PWA, but I have it separated out just because I'm running outside of my web browser. So there are still absolutely reasons to build desktop apps, and I thought, let's do it. And also, what kind of spurred this along is that I saw in one of the weekly newsletters that I subscribe to a new Node.js based one, and that's the one we're going to work on today. And then I then saw one for Python as well, and I thought, you know what? We've got two different things that we could play with. We could potentially, I guess I'm saying we for y'all, not the royal we. Hopefully, that's not where my brain was going. Um, we could play and learn both of these frameworks and potentially maybe try to build the same app and just see what happens. So, with that, I am going to shift this around a little bit. Home saw like that. Bring up my other window. Give me 1 second, and then add this to stage. And there we go. All right. I used to have my chat on the right side. Now it's on the left side. So if you see me doing this, that's what I'm doing. So I mentioned that I had seen a new desktop application framework, and that is Tauri. Normally, when people think about Node.js desktop apps, they think about Electron. In fact, I attended a presentation at the conference I was at last week that talked about Electron, and I have used Electron in the past. I thought it was cool, but you know what? Let's actually start on something completely new. Like I have not done anything at all with this, but let's see how difficult it is. And this is version 2.0. It's probably why it came up in my feed. If you are watching this and if you've used Tori 1.0, 1.x, let me know. I'm curious. And we're going to install this. So I like, first of all, I like how they start off with like how to create it. We are going to use npm, and we're going to copy that and go into my editor, open up a shell, and just install it. I'll install anything first. All right. Yes, I want to proceed. I want to go ahead and yeah, install all the things. Project name. We will call it app one because I'm very creative. Identifier, com.app. You know what? com.camden.app one. And what do I want from my front end? I want vanilla. So I'll say TypeScript, JavaScript. Package manager, we'll do npm. UI template, there we go. No Alpine. I could do React. Yeah. If you couldn't tell, my last two sections were on working with React. It did not go well. So I'm going to pick vanilla. UI flavor, we'll keep it to JavaScript. And bam, we're done. So we'll go into app one. We'll run npm i. And I see I have examples for Android and for desktop. All right, npm install worked fine. Let's go ahead and do npm run Tauri dev. npm run Tauri dev. See what that default experience is like. Oh, I did not expect to fail that quickly. Let's carefully look things over. Oh, all right, this scrolled past. This is important. Your system is missing dependencies, but they don't exist. So let's install Rust. I have never used Rust. So let's do that. Hopefully it won't be like installing Ruby. And I love it. Windows subsystem for Linux. They knew exactly what I was doing. All right. So we will run. Let's copy. All right. Surely this will go. This will go just fine. All right. Let's actually read this time. So it's a miss info. Welcome to Rust. This will install. Blah blah blah. Cargo. That all sounds very important and detailed. Yeah. Let's just do the default. Clippy. So apparently Rust installs Clippy. That's going to be great. All right. That did okay. So now I'm going to scroll all the way back to where I did the Tauri. And I next need to get WebKit to GTK. So let's do that. Yes. Just trust everything. I'm going to be honest here. I always forget when I use WSL, which is Ubuntu, which of these Linux flavors makes sense. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Debian because I know I've done this before. So we will run the update. We will run the update. Boom, saw like that. Password of password. And it's going to install all the things. All right. And then let's copy the installs. And nothing makes me feel more confident in seeing like 8 commands in a row with new lines. All right, look at that progress bar go. I have complete confidence in this. All right, so let's try running the app again. All right, so you know what? Let's say screw this. Let's scaffold the app all over again, just because maybe it last time it didn't work well. We will do app2 com.camden.app2 for the identifier, TypeScript and JavaScript, npm vanilla UI JavaScript. All right, and here's this. Oh, you know what? Okay. I installed it. I may need to refresh my path, or you know what I'm gonna do instead? I'm just gonna make a new shell, and I will scaffold a third time. Probably not necessary at all, but I just want to make this as easy as possible. So I'm picking all the same options again. UI flavor, and oh, look, no warnings. All right, go into app 3, npm I. Okay, and then npm run Tauri dev. This is definitely going to work. Yes, I'm seeing more stuff. Lots more stuff. Great. Awesome. It's building. Let's see what happens. It didn't even occur to me that I should maybe have done this under PowerShell just to, I mean, because I am thinking about building a Windows app, not necessarily a Linux window application. That possibly could make things easier. But you know what? We're going down this path. We will keep going down this path. I know WSL can launch Linux-based Windows applications, so we'll just see. And heck, if we get decent like real world running, in theory, I can build it out to Windows if I copy the code. I don't know. I'm just gonna run this and see what happens. Worst comes to worst, we will abort and switch back to Windows and see how that goes. We'll go to PowerShell instead. All right, it is running in theory, and took a whole minute, but that could be a first time run. We will see. And we have, oh, I was about to kill it. Look at that. That looks like a Linux-based UI app. Click on the logo. No, enter a name. My name is Raimundo. And great, you've been greeted from Rust. Cool. Let's Heck, let's take a look at this, see what's inside. I have no idea. So node modules, we all know what that is. We have source and source Tauri. I'd be willing to bet that I have no idea which is which, but we'll go into the index.html and give us a bit more space here. Y'all in the audience, if that text is too small, you just let me know. And this is what I'm seeing. So that makes sense. I see JavaScript. And heck, let's just change one thing. Welcome to desktop app creation. And does it reload? I honestly did not expect it to reload that fast, so that's pretty cool. Let's get rid of this junk on top that I don't need and get it closer. And that is actually far quicker than I anticipated. So this is all like vanilla HTML, JavaScript. Anything weird here? The first line is weird. So it looks like Tauri, and eventually we'll look at the docs, right? Yeah, we'll definitely look at the docs. So looks like Tauri is injecting into the Windows scope a Tauri object that I will use to do things, whatever that may be. And it looks like, if I had to guess, this invoke function, and we can click to learn more about it, is what's creating the little pop-up. Type in there again. Interesting that it needed to call. Oh, you've been created from. I bet you it's calling something on the server side and spitting out that, and that's what the invoke. Yeah, if I had to guess. So, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So let's look at the Tauri source, which would be Rust, I assume. Never used Rust before. Do not remove. Let's remove it and see what happens. I'm just kind of curious, like where the, there we go. Hello, bracket. That must be how Rust does formatted strings. You've been greeted from Rust. Let's see if that does hot reload as well. So we made the change. And for that, it actually killed the application. So let's see if it comes back. Not the fastest turnaround. I will say it. So this is what happened last time, if y'all remember. It finished in 60 seconds. Now it's doing 10 seconds. And then it just hung out and did nothing for, I feel like, a minute. And I was about to kill it when it popped up. So I'm definitely thinking that because I complained, it showed up. All right, so let's see now if I say Ray, it should have all the bangs. Okay, that's not bad. I still think maybe I want to switch to PowerShell just for the heck of it, just to see if that makes it any quicker. But I'd have to install Rust again and Tauri and all that. So let's not do that. Let's actually go back here and look at their getting started. See how quickly I can go crazy with this and start doing things. So yes, all the reasons why, smaller app size, that's fine. I know Electron tends to be a little bit large because it has to pack Chromium into its installer. I also know that I really haven't thought about the size of an installer in like a long time. So if your desktop app is a couple megs, I don't necessarily think that's a big deal. We've done create project, and yeah, this is all what we just did. No big whoop there. And not too worried about the front end stuff because I really just want to keep it vanilla. And I'm not going to be using React or Vue, etc. Not worried about upgrading or migrating. So let's look at the core concepts, which in theory should just be your front end web platform, your back end in Rust. Tauri is a polyglot and generic toolkit that's very composable. It's great. And it's using a web view. That makes sense. So if you don't know what that means, essentially it's like a miniature browser. That is the UI view. That's pretty much how Apache Cordova worked. If you ever use that, uh, I did. I did. Sorry, I'm looking at a chat message there. Um, when I used to do a lot of Apache Cordova slash PhoneGap stuff, it was basically a web view with hooks to give you more power on the back end. So this is fine. Tauri is not a light rate kernel wrapper. That's fine. It's not a VM. And here we have a lovely animated GIF, etc. And this kind of skimming because that's what we all do, right? I see that there's a Tauri config, there's macros, all kind of stuff, and excuse me. All of this looks like important stuff that I will look at later at some point. I am more curious about like a quick start, like how to do things a little bit better. Uh, Each Tauri application has a core process, which is the application's entry point. That makes sense. And it also routes all inter-process communication to the core process. Yep. So as far as I know, what that boils down to, did I say GIF? Of course I said GIF. No, I said GIF. I forgot what I said. From what I know about IPC, this is probably how it's going to handle doing desktop level stuff. So working with the file system, integrating with the computer's scheduling system, and so forth, handling events. Tauri uses Microsoft Edge Web View 2 on Windows, and of course Safari on Mac OS. And I guess right now I'm using WebKit GTK. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, I guess, but I'm kind of used to Windows and Mac apps, so that is okay. And in theory, I could take this code I have now and generate a Windows desktop application as well. Security, I'm not too worried about. Content security policy, yeah, that's probably going to matter if I do anything network-wide. It is only enabled if set in the configuration file. So I'll worry about that when we actually start hitting things. And then let's look at develop. You have everything set up. You're ready to run it. I'm already running it. So there you go. Looks like you can configure the dev URL. Oh, so I wonder if that means I currently have localhost 3000 running for the app. I do not. Let's go back here, and this is in tauriconf.json. There we go. Looks like we have some things like the default window size. That makes sense. We have the icons, and we don't have a default. If you are using a UI framework that you like from the server, it'll speed. Oh, you can add this. Okay, well that makes sense. I'm not going to worry about that now. We're already using Tauri Dev. The first time may need several minutes to download and build. It was slow-ish, but there we go. And it is cool that I can do Android, iOS. I'm mostly curious about calling Rust from the front end. So I assume this is how we would do anything fancy on that side. I've never seen Rust before, but that makes sense. Let's actually look at that function we opened in librs. Function greet. So you know what? Let's just copy and paste this and make a roast command. And that's the argument. We'll keep that. And we will roast the person instead and say, you smell. And I'm not going to save this yet because that's going to restart the back end and have the desktop application go in. And I will just say the person in chat who is kind of bugging about a job, that's not what this is about. So I'm going to not worry about that right now. So please stop. Can't help you there. Took me forever to find my own job. Let's actually make a whole new form, and we will call this the roast form. And this ID will be, I don't like dashes. We'll call it roast input. We'll change the button text to roast, and we will use a roast message paragraph using my own. You know what? Let's actually kill what they did. Let's start this vanilla, go into the JavaScript, and we are going to look for roast input and DOM content loaded. And we are going to save it in roast message. I'm pretty sure I capitalized the M. I did. And roast input. Yep. All right. And our form, did I change the ID? I did, but let me make it camel case. And like that. So all I'm really doing here is Coder Akash, it is okay. I just want to keep it focused on what we're talking about today. All right, so all I've done here basically is change the UI, change the elements that I'm working with, and I will keep greet around, but I'll make a new function called this and called roast. Get rid of the comment. We'll call roast. And on the back end, we are going to invoke roast. And it is, let me make my variables actually match what I'm doing here. Roast input, roast message element, and change this like that. And then this, basically just changing all the greet to roast, so not too crazy. Save it, save the back end, and we should see it rebuild. Boom, that's not bad. So, note, Warren, dead code. Okay, yeah, where do I have dead code? Greet, yeah, I guess I removed greet. Oh, right here. I have no idea what that is doing. It looks like, if I had to guess, it is setting it up, like it's making it ready to go. And yeah, greet is still definitely dead. Let's see if it launches even with the warning, and see if I didn't screw things up too bad. Let's see. So last time it was about 10 seconds. And there we go. And see if I screwed this up. Raymundo, and yes. Okay. Well, for never having written Rust before, I got that running, and I made the JavaScript a little bit closer to what I like. So let's call Dad Joke API. Let's do that. Let's because I'm curious, because I saw in the docs it mentioned CSP, but also if I saw correctly in my quick scan that it would only impact it if I added something or another. But for the heck of it, let's do this. I'm gonna make a load joke button. I'm gonna say load joke. We're gonna make a div to show the joke result. Ooh, I'm also curious to see what happens if I create a bug. All right, so let's just start working here. So we will say let joke button joke result. I like using dollar signs. I think I mentioned this before. I like using dollar signs for anything pointing to the DOM. So we will say joke button equals document query selector. I saw my AI code assist. There we go. Look at that. And so it is pointing to joke button, joke result. Let's actually rename this joke button. I like what I like what the AI thought made sense. So these two should point to there. And let's do, wow. God, I'm getting spoiled by having code assist in my editor. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to disable the button. I actually wanted to, change the text content. Normally I use inner HTML. Let's see if it picks up on that. Inner HTML equals loading. And then we will call a function. We'll say let joke equals await get joke. And then we will, God, that's exactly, never gonna write code again. So yeah, when done, load the joke result into the HTML, undisable the button, and let us write our get joke. This will be get joke, and I have used the dad joke API a lot, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. There you go. It's just that and passing an accept header of JSON. So we will say let joke requests equals await fetch. Our header will be an accept header. Headers. Thank you for reading my mind, code assist. And then the joke will be joke. Nope, hold on. Let joke equals await joke request JSON return joke. And normally I would just return the await, but I'm pretty sure I need something inside there. And you know what? Let's see where console messages show up. I'm curious if they show up at all. Console.log clicked joke button. All right, let's see what happens. That's a big button. Let's click it. Object that worked instantaneously. All right. So like I said, this is a complex object. Let's actually let's stringify it. Stringify, because that will tell me what the structure is. Yeah, ID and joke. So we want to return joke.joke. I don't like it when variables repeat themselves, but we're going to fix that in a second. So, bam. How do hens stay fit? They always exercise. There we go. So you know what? Heck, let's get rid of the boring part. And let's call this the Dad Joke desktop app. And I am kind of curious where my console messages would show up, if anywhere. Ooh, you know what? I broke stuff because, oops, none of this is going to work anymore because I got rid of it. But I don't need it. I will keep roast around, but in comments just so I remember how that invoke worked. So now I've gotten rid of all the old stuff, come back and yes, look at that. Let's actually make this a little bit nicer. We're going to return, wrap that, a joke. Always take baby steps. Oh, you know what? Actually, thank you, Notice. Yeah, So I'd be curious. I know y'all are a little bit behind um, on the stream, so I'm going to just kind of ramble for a couple seconds so that you can see my latest code and you can see notices and notice this comment. Yes, what they are showing would work as well. I've always done something like this where I just use params. Um, and I'm going to keep it like this. Notice if I was going to do something besides returning, I would prefer, I think, your syntax. But because I'm just returning it, I'm going to use this. I will, however, do this little number here and stop trying to help. Code assist like that. And that should make that look a little bit better. But thank you, Notice, for reminding me about the structuring responses. I do love that feature. And there we go. I will say the turnaround time for the front end is like really freaking easy. And in theory, I bet we could also just add CSS. Let's link rel equals style sheet href equals I prefer app.css, and we will add a new file, app.css, and let's just make buttons smaller just to see how quick that's working. Yeah, that that was much quicker than I anticipated. So instead of doing width equals 500, we'll say margin left 50 pixels. I know I can combine into one margin property, but trying to be not too terribly fancy. There we go. I wonder if I could change that ugly background with just body. We'll do color, we'll do background color. White. It's kind of hard to see. Let's get bold and do red. Ah, look at that. So that's interesting. So my DOM is only taking up a part of what's visible on screen here. That's not what I've expected. Let's make the height, was it 1 VM? 100 VM for full screen? Full height? I thought it was VM. I'll do 100%. Man, look at that. It still doesn't take up the full page. This is probably something where if I actually read the freaking docs, I would see. But I wonder if... Oh my God, I didn't even... Oh, I'm a freaking idiot. You know what? Let's get rid of my app.css. How many of you saw that there was already a CSS file in there? Let's get rid of that. Let's look at what their styles is, what their default is. So they had stuff for the logo, which we can get rid of. At the root level, they have the font. That's their background color. Let's make this red. I just want to see it stick out. Save this, and let's go back. And then, bam. Yeah, there we go. All right, I definitely don't want red. I want white. We'll stick with that. And that load is quick. I do want to change the button. So let's get rid of stuff that we don't need. Not doing any of this. We'll keep the text align on the center. Input button. Yeah, let's make that background color. Let's go for purple. Why not? That looks awesome. Really dislike that. I'm not sure what that mouse over effect is with all the button cursor pointer. Yeah, I get that, but I don't know why. I don't know if y'all seeing on the stream, but there's like an X that is crossing the button. I'm probably just going to not worry about that too much. Oh, nice to see that it picks up on color scheme. Now, I will say on my Windows 11, I'm definitely using dark dark mode. Um, but I would be willing to bet this is using, again, that embedded browser on Linux where I've never specified the color scheme I enjoy. Um, that's interesting. I wonder, like, I didn't really want to switch to Windows PowerShell, but I am kind of curious if the default would pick up on that. But yeah, look at that. I built a thing. So I'm curious. Can we build this out? Hate those full screen ads. So what would be the process then of generating, distribute a Linux application? npm run Tauri build. All right. Well, that looks hard. Let's go back in here. Let's kill it. See if that kills the thing. And I have no idea what's going to spit out. Maybe a Linux binary executable. Doing all kind of fun stuff. Thinking. Almost at the end, I assume. I'm guessing. So close to the end. There is 9 more things for it to build. And to be fair, like I'm fine with this process being slow because I would imagine you would do a build once a day or when you're ready to put it into the app store or whatever. It could take a few minutes. Yep, there's my greet never used. I'm aware. Thank you. And assuming almost done. Yeah, look at that. It's building out DEB files and it failed at the last step. Failed to bundle project XDG open binary not found. Well, for the heck of it, let's do a quick look to see if let's get you back up. Most platforms require code signing. I'm not worried about that. Distributing any issues in here, or also I'm also just gonna maybe not worry about it too much. We will look up this at a web browser. You know what? I'm not gonna worry about that. We got it running in WSL. We're not gonna get to the point of building the application that I want to build per se, but let's see how quickly we can do this native Windows instead and see how that looks. So I'm actually going to do a new window. We're going to open a folder on the local file system. You get to see all my stuff here for a second. We'll go into projects. We will make a new folder called Tauri, and let's go into Tauri, and then let's open up PowerShell. That is because I recognize an error. Don't worry too much about that. And let's go through the install again. In theory, it should be not too bad. I'm pretty sure I've got Node installed on Windows, not just, yeah, okay. So we will npm create Tauri latest, and it should complain about Rust again, but we'll actually pay attention this time, I promise. It is okay to proceed. Project name, we'll call this app1. It's going to fail again because I don't have, I'll keep the identifiers. I don't have Rust installed for sure in Windows. But there we go. All right. Let's install Rust again. And let's see. Let's see what oh, there we go. Yes, I trust everything from the internet. Keep anyway. Thank you, Windows. All right, let's install Rust. Oops, 1. Sure, I want Visual Studio Installer. Why not? This is going to work just fine. I totally believe it. Let's see, and you darn 1.41 gigs. So we may not be doing this today. Let's give it a second and just see how quickly it goes. That's not that bad. Um, I mentioned at the beginning that I have a new Wi-Fi set up here, and in my office currently, I'm not on wired. I'm going to potentially change that eventually, but for right now, it's going okay. And just looking over at my comments while we wait. And that download's actually going fast enough. I think we can get this done before it ends. I will say we haven't looked at anything special on the desktop side, like operating system notifications, stuff like that. Um, the application I was hoping to build doesn't actually need any of that, so that's fine. But I would like to go back to the docs and potentially do at least one desktop E type thing, but we'll see. Um, we'll see how quick this install goes. I'm gonna give it like 2 minutes. This is a great time if you have any questions in the comments that you would like me to address or talk about. It seems to be stuck at 21%. This reminds me yesterday of opening up Call of Duty that I had not played in a couple of days, and it had first a 200 gig download, and then a 100 something gig download, and a 20 gig download, download after download after download. It took about 4 hours before I could play, and certainly it was worth all that time for the additional benefit I got from, I think, 2 new maps is all I saw. You were going really, really fast, and I was like, "Yeah, we're definitely gonna do this." And then you're just like, "I am not gonna move past 21%." So you know what? Let's put you in the background, and let's look at a little bit more of the quick start. See if we see anything interesting here. Not really. Um, Content security policy, I clicked on that earlier. It's only enabled if you add it. So, yep, I'm aware of that. Um, can we do any fun stuff? Well, let's look at debug. Because remember, I did try to use console.log, and I was curious about it. And I don't necessarily want to do it on the Rust side. Looks like you can do that from what WebView console. All right, here we go. You can control the inspector by using. All right, that looks like it'd be on the Rust side. What the heck is this? Opening it. Oh, you know what? Oh, right click and choose inspect element. Well, that's a heck of a lot easier. How are we doing over here? Oh, 22%. You are not inspiring me with confidence that you are actually going to get done in the next few minutes and get the hello world running for Windows. But you know what? Actually, let's go back to my first editor and let's run it again. And let's see if we can get that web view up and running. All right, so this should take about 10 seconds, I think. We'll see. And let's see, come on. And pop up. Any second now, come on. There we go. All right, so right click, inspect. Oh, look at that. Ain't that dandy? And I bet we could pop this out if we were bigger. This is slow as heck. That's another reason why I'm going to switch to Windows to see if the whole thing just a little bit quicker. But there's our console. Do alert one. Yeah, look at that. That works. All right. So if I were to go back in here, oh, I do have a console.log on the click button. Click joke button. There we go. And we can see our network tab there. Let's switch to XHR fetch only. And yeah, look at that. That's not bad. Like I said, I would like to have this popped out. Oh, there we go. Detach a separate one. There we go. Now we're cooking with the gas. All right. So that would be really darn useful. And that was really, really easy. Okay. How are you doing, Windows? Still at 22%. Well, you know what? We may leave this for next time. And I'm speaking this way just to threaten it to go quicker. And of course, it's going quicker because I threatened it. There we go. So we still got 9 minutes left. So let's see what happens. Come on. Yeah, see, you fooled me. You sped up. You got to the last one, and you're going to hang there. So, Rod, oh, threats are effective. Absolutely. Your all y'all's comments are on the side here, and I swear you said threads are effective. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not really talking about threads as far as I know. Uh, yes, threats are effective. I've also been a big fan of just moving the cursor like this, just to see if it speeds things up at all. Uh, but you know, it's not. I will say if it's on the last package and that package is 40% of the process, that's probably going to be a large install, which is okay. Let's go back to the docs then instead. So debugging was really, really easy. So that's no big deal. Again, you could do debug builds, which that makes sense. What about plugins? What plugins exist? I don't want to create one, so we'll skip it. Testing, who actually tests? And distribute. So I guess like one thing I thought that I would see would be more discussion of like how to do operating system type things. So I don't know why toast messages are on my mind as an operating system thing, but that's one. Working with the file system, like I'm surprised some of this is not actually called out. It definitely possibly could be, and I am just, as y'all can see, kind of skimming around. And so yeah, this part with the event system and all that, I remember this from Electron, where you basically invoke something on the client side, it runs an event on the server side, and we're actually seeing that right there, where it is going to be running on the server side. I keep saying server side, the function to run. Like all that makes sense. So I guess maybe I would use Rust code to like read from the file system, or do whatever, and that it would just work. But again, I was kind of thinking that I would see an example somewhere of that. Security, develop, embedding external dependency, configuration, state management. Curious about that. Provides, oh, it has a API. And it looks like this is where you can access and store state. Now, one thing I'm curious about is if you would do this versus doing state on the client side. And for the heck of it, let's pop this open again and see if we have access to local storage. Session storage. Let's set item name equals Ray. So it didn't throw an error. So let's get item. And Ray. So let's kill this and see if we could still get that to come back. So I'll kill the app, relaunch it. How are you doing, Windows? You're still working. Let's see if that's still in session storage. Did I do session storage? I did. I am a freaking idiot. I should have done local storage, not session storage. So we're gonna try this test again. Once the window pops open. Yes, 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 yes. Come on, give me my window. Any second now. Come on, real quick test. We have 4 minutes left. I want to see if local storage works on this. That's interesting. It was going much quicker. And now it's completely broken for some reason. It looks to be broken. You remember, it was launching pretty quickly. I know that we got these warnings before, so I'm not too worried about that. But did we get the... Yeah, we did get the error before. So why are you being difficult in these last few minutes? This may end up being in our part 2. I'd kind of assumed that I would do 2 sessions on Tauri, which is fine, because that leaves us in June to do the Python version of all this. Let's let that continue to cogitate. And let me go to Google, and I'm curious. Toast message in Tauri 2. There we go. Look at multiple videos by a person who looks very unhappy. That could just be his screenshot. Notification. Send toast notification. That right there. And this is V1. And this is under, I bet you this is under the reference that we did not go into. Too many windows. Let's go into the reference and see if there's anything interesting here. We don't think we want the Rust docs. I don't believe so. That window really did never show up. Let me give it another shot, and then we'll wrap things up. I think we may just end here. I think, yeah, I think, although look at that. That's some interesting things in there. Tauri apps, they have a database on the JavaScript side. Oh, look, there we go. All right, so again, because I complained, and this time I'll do local storage dot set. This will be our last thing for today. And of course, Visual Studio just finished. So let's make Ray. Let's make sure I did it correctly. There's Ray. Let's kill it via closing right there. Oops. And go back to my editor. And let's run this again. Hopefully it runs a little bit quicker. And then we'll end on that. How are you doing, Visual Studio? That's great. Happy you're happy. That feels like a lot to just install Rust. You just keep going. There we go. All right, so Windows is doing a thing in the background. We're going to end on this real quick check to see if local storage is persisted. The console is definitely local storage, get item name. Oh, look at that. Yeah, so whatever Tauri has on the back end for application state management may be the proper way to do it, but it's cool to know that the web view works as well. Okay, so let us remove this from the stage and put my ugly mug back in front of you. Uh, Russ never sleeps. So I'm assuming we have some Russ people in the room, which is great. Today is my first time ever looking at it, and to me, like, it's a big green flag, I guess, that the install seemed to go just fine, if a little slower on Windows versus WSL. And looking at the code, I could read it. Not 100% sure what it was doing, but I could read it. So +1 for Rust. And so for Tauri, yeah, we got something running. So my plan next week, not next week, next session, is to go ahead and continue to use Tauri. We will see how it looks on Windows. I'd be curious to see the Windows application pop up and all that. Also curious if it loads a little bit quicker, if it's not doing UI via WSL, just doing UI via Windows. We'll see. That was fun. Thank you all for posting in the comments. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you next time. Stay safe, be good, and all that jazz. And again, y'all, thank y'all for hanging out with me. I appreciate it a lot. All right. Bye, y'all.